The Warsaw Uprising began on the 1st of August, 1944. 0 hour, or W hour as they called it, was supposed to be at 5 o'clock. But the first outbreak of shooting began earlier in the day at Joliborz, the northern suburb of Warsaw. That encounter, which began at 1:30 p.m., was the first skirmish of the Warsaw Uprising. As the saying goes, much has been written. Was it a good idea? Was it launched at the right time? Were there other opportunities? You may well ask. The fact remains that it did take place, and the people who took part in it were brave and beautiful. In the annals of uprisings against tyrannical rule, the Warsaw Uprising is unsurpassed. For 63 days, the Poles waited for the Russians to come across the river from the east and aid them in their rebellion against the Nazis. This did not happen. History has told us why. The Russians were quite happy to watch the Poles be destroyed by the Germans, rather than for the Poles to be free after World War II. There is no doubt about this. This was Stalin's plan. The Warsaw Uprising is indelible on the memory of the 20th century. At the Warsaw Uprising Museum, this history is set in stark terms. You're able to take a close look at those 63 days of fighting for freedom. This is an experience that will not leave you untouched. It will change the way you think about history of this time. And it will remind you of what a great capital Warsaw actually is. The city that stood against one of the greatest tyrannies the world has ever seen and rose again to become a modern leading city in Europe. The next series of episodes will take you through the history of the Warsaw Uprising. Thanks for watching.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the next exciting edition of Poland Daily Travel, your favorite travel show, and perhaps the greatest travel show ever made about Poland. At least we like to think so. Today we have a very interesting and also serious topic. We're at the Warsaw Uprising Museum in beautiful downtown Warsaw. It's a unique place. It is the only museum of its kind in the world, and it's a museum that everyone should see, because the story it tells is unforgettable and almost unbelievable to us 70 some years on from the end of World War II. With me will be our guide, Alexandra Duda. She is going to take us through the museum, and we're going to do a really thorough job, aren't we?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen here today, Alexandra?
Very warm welcome to the Warsaw Rising Museum. I'm going to show you the key places here at the museum, which we show to the guests who come here every single day. Every year we have about 700,000 visitors, so we are really happy that so many people are interested in this event, which erupted in the city of Warsaw on August the 1st, 1944.
Good. And is there anything else you want to tell us before we go and walk around the museum? Because we're going to stop at various places in the museum and talk about those in detail.
Okay, so
is there anything we need to know about before we go and do that? Yeah.
We're going to walk on this old kind of pavement, and this introduces us to the story of Warsaw, which...
This pavement?
Yes,
okay.
which no longer exists, because Warsaw was demolished up to 84% during World War II.
Right.
We have to state that after the end of the Rising, half of the city was still standing, but Germans decided to destroy what was left. So 34% of the city was unfortunately torn down to foundations after the end of the Rising. And we need to remember that story of the Rising is, of course, of the story of the Polish people fighting for freedom. It's the story of Germans and their fury to destroy, to eradicate the Polishness from this area. But it's also the story of Soviets who are standing on the other side of the Vistula River and are admiring the spectacle of Warsaw in flames.
Wow. Okay, stay with us. Poland Daily Travel. We are going to move further on with Alexandra Duda, guide here at the museum, and with me, as always. Stay with us. Hello everybody and welcome back. We are in the Warsaw Uprising Museum and I'm with Alexandra Duda, our esteemed guide, who's taking us through, telling us everything we need to know about this museum in the next series of episodes. We're standing here right now in front of actual ruins. These are pieces from the royal castle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what was left of the key building in Warsaw, key building in Poland where our king used to reside.
Right.
Because earlier Krakow used to be our capital city, but the capital city was moved to the city of Warsaw towards the end of the 16th century. And I'd like to draw your attention to this huge photograph here which shows Warsaw in 1930s, at the time when Warsaw was a huge metropolis. It had 1,300,000 inhabitants. And unfortunately, historians counted that after the war, 700,000 did not come back.
700,000 were dead.
Yeah.
The rest of the people had pretty much been forced out of the city.
Expelled by
film
Germans.
like The Pianist, we get a view of what the city was like after the Germans left and the Russians came, or before the Russians came, I guess. This interregnum, wasn't there? A short time. Here is we can see the old cars and
people wearing old clothes. And those who remember Warsaw from before World War II can't forget this image, and could not recognize Warsaw after the end of war, when it was the city of ruins, the city of ghosts, because it's really impressive that inhabitants of Warsaw, those who survived, decided to come back here to rebuild their houses. So nowadays you can't see the destruction, because Warsaw is the city of beautiful skyscrapers. It's the biggest construction site
in Europe.
In Europe right now.
Maybe one of them in the world, I would think.
So
because they're building all these skyscrapers one after the other. It's nothing like this sort of elegant city that existed in the pre-war times. And particularly between the wars.
That's it.
Really grew.
So to understand Warsaw, you need to read a lot, and try to experience what really happened here, that every single stone here had soaked with the best Polish blood, because Warsaw was defeated but remained unsubdued.
Yeah, which is what the uprising is all about. We just came from, we were in Suzina Street. Did I say that even correctly at all? Suzina, is that correct? Or close? You say it.
Suzina.
Suzina, the street where everything began. The first shots of the day.
Exactly.
The sort of scouting group or something, wasn't it? Who got overexcited with gendarmes, right? Sort of, we can't wait. Anyway. Then we went to where they were storing weapons, right around on Wieniawski Street, is it?
I don't know.
There's a place where and they said in this basement, in this very nice street.
Lots of places like this.
Of course, But this is one that has a plaque. So we were there as well. And that's a street in Żoliborz, because Żoliborz was not, that is still pretty much intact, because it was not as much destroyed, right?
It was not that much bombed.
As the rest of the city. Okay, we're going to continue with more from Poland Daily Live. We're here at the Warsaw Uprising Museum. Hey, and this is the week of the beginning of the Warsaw Uprising. We're going to be continuing, if I can say it, we're going to be continuing to bring you more episodes from the museum about the Warsaw Uprising with Alexandra Duda. Stay tuned, come back. Why do we do it? We do it for you.